This is a fully automatic wool farm for your Minecraft survival and or creative world. This you don't have to do any work for. You can just let it go and it'll automatically collect and store wool for you. But before I show you how to make this project, I need to show you what materials you need in order to make this project work. So now here's your material list. You're going to need 4 chests, 4 hoppers, 4 minecarts with hoppers, 4 rails, 4 dispensers, 4 observers, 4 redstone dust, about a stack of building blocks, and you're going to need some glass for this one, and then at least 2 shears for each machine. Once you've gathered all your materials, you're going to quickly pick them all up, and then we're going to find a nice flat area to work in, making sure we're placing this on grass blocks or grass, not on stone. Now, once you've picked an area, place a dispenser with 1 block gap in between in a straight line like so, placing all 4 dispensers in total, leaving a gap in between each one. Now that you've done that, you're going to go in front of each dispenser, dig 1 block away from it and 1 block down from the dispenser, like so, just to give us a reference point of where we're going to start digging here. Now dig another block down on each one of these holes here, and get ready to place your chests. You can dig an extra block inwards, making an L shape as well. Once you've done that, you're going to grab your chests and get ready to place the 4 chests in each one of these holes. But before we do that, we're going to dig 1 extra block down and then place the chest. 1 extra block down, place the chest, and repeat this for all of them like so. So you should have 3 blocks down with the chest, and then dig 1 block underneath there. Go behind the dispenser and dig out 5 blocks in total, so 4 blocks there and the block that's facing behind the chest. Grab your hopper and place a hopper facing inwards towards the back of the chest. Then we can dig our way out. Again, 1 block here, 1 down, 2, 3, 4, and then this block here facing into the chest. So 5 blocks total, with 1 block we're using just to dig our way out. Again, as you can see here, I accidentally messed up and went 3 blocks down instead of 2 blocks down, so I ended up one block a little lower than I wanted to be. But that's okay, as long as we're placing a hopper facing into the back of the chest, and I'm going to fill these blocks back in, and we have a 2 block gap underneath the dispenser. And for the last one, again, one more time, 1, 2, 3, 4. Get rid of that block there, and then place a hopper facing into the back of the chest like so. Now that you've done that, you should have something that looks like this, making sure each one of these machines matches. We're going to grab our rails and then hold shift and right click above the hopper so that the rail is facing parallel to the hopper and touching both sides of the blocks. The way you know that you did this right is when you place your hopper with a minecart, it doesn't roll off and it's going to be stuck in between the 2 blocks. Again, making sure that this is placed in the proper direction is very important for this farm. Make sure each one of these has a hopper minecart on top of it, as well as a rail underneath. And then each one of these has completely done our collection system and is ready to work. But before that, we're going to grab our observers and face it into the back of this block here with the red eye facing towards us while we're doing so. So each one should look like this, making sure they're all facing into the correct block that is in front of the dispenser. Then we can grab our grass blocks and we can fill in these spaces that we mined out from earlier. And then once you've done that, place your redstone dust on top of each one of those blocks behind the dispenser, so 4 dust in total. Now that we've done this, we've completed our collection system, we've completed our shearing mechanism. Now we need to make a containment area for the sheep and so that they're not moving around and we can collect their wool. I'm going to start by placing wood blocks in between each one of the holes there and a wood block on top of each one of these dispensers like so. Now that you've done that, you can go ahead and get ready to place your glass blocks in between each one. So we're going to grab our glass blocks and place 1, 2, 3, 4. This is going to be a viewing window for the sheep. And then the reason we're going to place glass blocks on the in-between parts is that way the grass can still grow from underneath. Whereas if you place a solid block, the grass will turn into dirt and then it won't change the block next to it. So using glass for this in-between part is crucial to the farm. So you should have a pattern, a zigzag glass formation like so. where you can put wood blocks in between as long as it's not blocking the grass from growing towards the center. And then build each of the glass blocks 2 blocks high, like so. Now, if this is confusing, feel free to slow it down or pause it and just recreate what I've made right here for each one with a little containment chamber in front of each and every dispenser. Now that we've created the containment chambers, I went over to my sheep gathering area, whatever you want to call it. Gathered up 4 sheep. You're going to need 1 sheep for each one of these farms. Put some leads on them and pull them towards the farm. You can use wheat if you have wheat. If you don't have leads, I just think leads are a little bit easier. Then, once you're ready, you're going to grab 1 sheep at a time, and you just simply have to manage to maneuver them into the farm by getting them to walk up or luring them up with wheat and just getting them to fall into the hole there. After that, we can remove the lead and then grab our next sheep. This process might be a little difficult, but after a few trial and error, you'll probably get it done the first try. As you can see here on the second one, I was definitely messing up a little bit. I was trying to lure him in, but I accidentally pulled the wrong direction and he fell off towards the side. But that's okay. So once you've done all that and you have all 4 sheep into each one of the containment units, you can power this on by adding 2 shears in each one of these dispensers like so. So each dispenser has a total of 2 shears. You can put 9 shears into them if you want to. That way you'll never have to worry about coming back to refill them. And then just to start it, you're going to want to shear each one of these sheep at least once just to get the process started and to check to make sure our collection systems are working. We're going to dig a 1 block down gap in front of each one of these glass windows here that we're using for a viewing station. That way you can access the resources in the chest without having to dig a huge hole. You can connect these farms with more hoppers if you'd like to, but I like to keep it sorted so that way I'm doing each one has its own collection chamber. Now that we've done this, the next step for this is going to be we're going to go over the back here and get rid of these 3 redstone dust. Now the reason we're doing that is because right now I'm going to show you how you can dye your sheep. By getting rid of the 3 redstone in the back there, we're going to change the 3 color of the sheep. We've essentially just turned the farm off because we don't want it to shear them because we need to dye them. But in order to do that, we have to wait for their wool to grow. As you can see here, after waiting a little bit, you can right-click and choose your dye and dye the color of the sheep. And once you've done that, you can go back towards the back of the farm and just replace those 2 redstone that we got rid of. And then once again, shearing them just to get the process started. But now, rather than collecting whatever color sheep we put in, we can change the color at any time and then have this farm set to, just say you need only red. We can have all these sheep set to red. All I'm doing now is going under each one and placing a staircase just so it looks better and we can access the chest a little easier. This part is entirely optional. After what I've showed you, you can stop at this point or you continue on. All we're doing is just for the sake of decorating and making it look nicer for Minecraft survival world. If you're just looking for functionality, right now is your stopping point. But if you do want to see some tricks to make it look a little cooler, make it look like a little vending machine, I'm taking the wool I collected from them and putting the wool on top of the block of glass to show you which one is producing which color wool. That way it's a little easier to go and select what kind of wool you want later on in the future. After setting all these up, I went with white, yellow, red, and blue. But all I'm doing now is going to the corner and placing some oak logs around the perimeter just to give it an extra dimensional effect to the project. I do this with a lot of my builds if you haven't noticed already. So all we're doing here is just adding some 3-dimensional logs just to help the farm along, going to the corners and placing logs up and almost making sort of a cube-like formation. This is just going to help it fit into the style of the world I'm currently building in. This has nothing to do with the farm itself, which is why it wasn't on the material list. This is entirely optional. Now that we've done that, the next part we're going to do here is we're going to get ready to place some more decorative blocks on the farm. So as you can see, we placed all the blocks we need to place. I'm going to place a trapdoor above each one of these here coming off the glass, and then put them in the open position, fill in this block here, and then put them in the open position. That way we can go down and place a couple of ladders. That way if in case we fall down into the hole or we're trying to get the loot, we can climb ourselves back up. This is also going to be nicer and easier to collect our loot or our wool during the project. It also just looks a little nicer because now that we close the trap doors, you can't really see a hole in the ground. It just looks infinite times better. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to grab our staircases and place some upside down staircases in between this just to add, again, all we're doing here is adding some more visual effects, trying to get it to look more like a vending machine sort of aspect to it. Placing staircases in between these slabs here also gives it a better shape and kind of cuts out some of the uglier looking grass blocks underneath, makes it a little more visually pleasing. And after some fooling around, I made it look like this. In order to access the loot, you can simply open the trap door and open the chest. This is it. So if you did enjoy this video and you want to see more stuff like this, please let me know. This farm is super efficient, works for all editions, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.